We are live with Trevor Ainsworth from Vermont. How are you, Trevor?
I'm excellent. Thanks for asking, buddy. How's it going down there in Florida?
Man, it's cold.
It's cold.
we woke we woke up. It was like 55 degrees. We almost called it a snow day today.
It's snowing outside of my house right now.
I figured that.
Literally snowing.
I figured. So Trevor, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you. We've been going back and forth before this interview, and I know that you're a coach, you're a trainer, you have a great team over there in Vermont, and I wanted to get to know you a little bit more. We share some common friends and circles, so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about you, man, and what brings you on. Well, I bring you on,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, right. We're coming out to see you, buddy. That's what I'm coming out for. Trevor Ainsworth. Yeah, I live up in Vermont, in the northern regions, in between Stowe and Burlington, Vermont area, and been doing real estate a little over 20 years, just a little over 20 years. Got into it mainly because I was a full-time musician. I couldn't wake up at 8 in the morning on Monday to get to work. So it was basically somebody was like suggested real estate. I thought it sounded like a good idea. My wife got into real estate. She's actually a real estate attorney, and so we spent a lot of time talking about real estate, as you can imagine. And just kind of spent my career kind of back and forth between Connecticut, where I grew up, Rhode Island, which is right next door, and Vermont. I used to drive back and forth, selling houses between back, driving 5 hours, make phone calls, get in the car, and go drive to Rhode Island and close deals. And then I had worked for Keller Williams, worked for a really great boutique that became a Compass down in Rhode Island, and now I'm with EXP, and I'm pretty happy about that. It's been a good transition for me because I love to spend as much time as I possibly can at home and not driving to an office for 5 hours anymore. So that pretty much is sums up my real estate experience there between solo agent teams, done a lot, and still have a lot more to do and so much to learn.
Well, Trevor, I could definitely sympathize with not being able to wake up on Monday mornings after a gig, but one of the things that people get into the business for is to be able to set their own schedule, and then they abuse that, right?
Right.
So I got to be careful about telling people, hey, it's free will, right? But free will can be a double-edged sword when it comes to
It's
schedules.
can be brutal. I'm just pulling my calendar up here. So like without this thing, I really it's so important. You got to have your
Uh,
day broken down, your
yeah,
tasks. I'm like ADD, like you read about. Like I can't focus on anything for more than 10 minutes. And the calendar has really helped me out with real estate and goal setting. And I've had a lot of different. I've coached with everybody. I've had every coach out there from Mike Ferry when I first started.
wow,
Literally,
I did too. It's funny you
yeah.
said that. I started my first coaching company was the Mike Ferry Coaching Company, and it was them, Tom Ferry, and a couple others. Now there's I don't know. You could throw a rock at
Yeah.
five, but it was just the basics, right? Get in front of people that need to buy and sell real estate. Get on the phone, right? It's the most efficient, quickest way to get somebody is to get them on the phone and ask them, "Hey, what do you need? How can I help you?" Right?
And that's still coming full circle. I mean, the old school get on the phone method it still works. I mean, there's all these great ways to do real estate these days, but getting on the phone by far is the cheapest and best way to get business and connect with somebody as close to one-on-one as possible and find out what they
Uh,
need and get them what they need and move next forward, move things
that's right.
forward.
That's right.
Mike is the master of that from back in the day.
Everybody has a phone, right? Everybody
Yeah.
has a phone. Different case on it, but everybody has some sort of communication device. Uh, and I think we kind of lose track of that as agents sometimes, trying to look for the easier way to communicate with people, which is your social media channels. Everybody wants to have 1 million followers on XTube or YouTube or whatever tube, and it's the easy way, right? I'm putting something out there. People are going to call me, right? But nothing replaces good old, communication, the good old hard way of
Right.
hey, you have somebody to sell, something to sell. I can sell it, or I have a buyer to sell it, right?
Now, you
Um,
have to embrace all the other channels out there, and the last couple of years for me, I've been making some crappy videos. I mean, my videos are not good. I mean, you might have seen them on my page. They're just me with my phone. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Tell you what, going through my numbers. So, one of the things I like to do at the end of the year is I'll pull off the MLS just my sales for the year and maybe even the year before. And I'll just look at those and I'll just kind of make a little couple different colored pens, like blue, this is SOI, red, this is prospect, just kind of see where my deals came from. I started making the videos for fun. So I was like, everybody's making a video. I'm going to talk for like a minute, whatever. And I'm telling you, the last year and a half, I contribute like 40% of my deals to people stopping me on the street, mostly because Facebook, it's for old people almost. Like I guess they were old. I mean, I'm 50. I don't feel old, but like the kids are on the younger social medias.
right.
The older folks and their parents are on Facebook now, and they're using it. So I'll be in the grocery store, and someone will stop me. And go,
Guess
my
who owns the
mom.
houses though?
Yeah, the old
Guess who
folks.
owns? Yeah, so the Facebook
Exactly.
demographic.
Exactly, the Facebook demographic. And I'll be walking down the street, or grocery store, at a restaurant. People will stop me, like that I know I'm in real estate and don't even think. And they're like, "Hey, my mom saw your videos. She loves them. They're going to sell their house this spring. Can you give them a call?" Things like that. It really has translated to a bunch of business for me in the last couple of years, and I've been consistent with it because it's fun. I want to
Right.
do it every day. I feel like I'm doing some work. Oh, I get out there and make a couple videos, but it actually is contributing to not necessarily sales in my hand, but what it's
Yeah.
contributing to is the know, like, and trust factor, which
Right.
we have to have in real estate. So to build that, so maybe I make some phone calls, but they might have seen me. They might have seen the
Yes.
video. They might have seen my thing at the baseball field. I coach baseball and I sponsor a team. But it's the familiarity of things. The what is Jay Kinder calls it, the force multiplier, which was land, sea, and air. Come at them every angle, and if you can get your face out there and get your message out there a bunch of different ways, when luck strikes, as Richard Branson will say, you'll be ready.
That's right. That's right. The tool that I see social media so valuable is being social with it, right? And letting people know that you're a real person that has a real family, does real things, but you're really into real estate, right?
Sure,
So they know that this is your profession. Because if you're not really into real estate, right, then you're probably a part-time something else, right?
you're
And
part of a lot of things. Yeah,
right, so you want that social media presence to say, hey, I'm a full-time agent of whatever thing, right? Niche, you know. I sell 100-unit condos, or I sell,
yeah,
multi-million-dollar places. This is what you should call me for, because look, I'm doing this every day. I live and breathe and eat this, right? This is what I
right.
do. So
And
that's
with
the
social,
value.
yeah, and social helps. Everybody talks to the business page and this. I don't have a business page. I mean, I have one, but I don't think I posted automatic to it. But
Yeah,
all my stuff I do is off my personal page. Because
that's
that's
right.
where all my friends live, and that's where all my friends' friends live, and their friends live. So
Well,
you really, you've got to, incorporate, like you said, incorporate all those pieces together, would show that you're a real person, would show that your full time focus is on your business of real estate,
yeah,
and that will get people to be more excited to again stop me in the store. Hey, my mom saw your videos; she loves them. Let's talk about their house. I mean, that was the first time that happened. I
yeah,
was really kind of blown away. I was at this local market, and one of those like one of the chefs back in the kitchen, kind of the butcher, he comes by and says, "Hey, I hadn't seen him in a while." I was like, "Oh, what's up, buddy?" High five, big hug, and he's like, "My mom's been watching your videos." I'm like, "Oh no." And this was about a year ago. And then he was like, "Well, no, it's good. It's good because she loves your videos, and they got to sell their house in like a couple of months. And, she really feels like she trusts you, and you get your kids. She's on your Facebook page." Because I post a lot of stuff about my kids because I love my kids
yeah,
and my wife and everything. So I'm always posting stuff about them. And they see you're a person, but they see you're spending your time in your business. And that's, if I needed a carpenter and there was a guy posting a bunch of stuff about carpentry full time, I'd be like, call this guy up. He knows what he's talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. Because
So it's
that's
just every little
that's
piece, the phone
yeah,
and social media and everything. You need all those pillars. There's no silver bullet. There's no one perfect way to do real estate. You have to
yeah.
these days. you got to incorporate everything in. You have to.
Multi-prong approach. You as well as I probably. So we've been in the business quite a bit now. We've seen people come in and come out, a couple of cycles, real estate cycles. I'm
Sure.
not 100% sure how it was in Vermont over the last 18 months, but the tail end of last year was fairly slow, and it carried over into rate hikes and 2023 transactions across the board down about 30%, 35%. Values in some areas, right? Florida wasn't very affected. We have a lot of migration in here, but other
Yeah.
states I saw rate values dip, several percent, 10%, 5%, which that would indicate a real estate economic cycle, right? Uh, it doesn't have to be a black swan event like 2007 for a real estate
No.
cycle to happen, and which is what most people were saying, expecting. Hey, I'm going to buy when real estate drops. Well, what if it only drops 2%?
Exactly.
Right?
What if it only
Like
drops
that.
2%? I mean,
That's a
you
real
got to get
estate
in.
cycle.
Exactly. And they're shorter than they used to be.
Right.
Much shorter than they used to be. I mean, look at just you saying last 18 months, 14 months, last 3 years. We've seen a couple of cycles in some markets where it's been up and it's been down, it's been up and it's been down. And
Yep.
people who you can't time it. I mean, it's like one of those things where you close your eyes and somebody says, "Okay, I'm going to move my arm up and down." You tell me when the market is up or down. It's blind. You can't
Yeah.
pick it. You've just got to get in.
I didn't know 2011 was over until 2017, right? Like I was like, when is this gonna end? Oh, it did end. So,
Yeah.
that
2010 was my best year in real estate still. As a
yeah,
personal production, 2010, and that was coming off the crash of
yeah.
everything. I really think that there is opportunity in down times. We're not in a down time right now. It's just a
No.
weird time. It's very weird, and buyers are fixated on the rates and everything. It's so the
Well,
information on the news.
because they have regency bias still at that 2%, right?
Oh,
People are still thinking, oh, it's gonna drop and it's gonna come back to 2%. Well, just like property values are not gonna drop 50% like they did in 2007 and 8, interest rates are not going to drop back to 2% unless there's a black swan event, right? And you
correct.
have to
Correct.
identify those black swan events, and those things don't happen every real estate cycle or every anything cycle, right? They happen every 5, 10, 15 years, and they're sporadic, and you have to know how to identify them and really leverage and take care of them. But I don't think that's coming in, and leading to my question is, these real estate cycles go up and down, and buyers go up and down, and just like buyers get hot and cold in this market, in any market, so do real estate agents. And we've seen over the
Sure.
last 18 months, and my team, your team, people getting out of the business, right? Oh, I don't want anything to
In,
do with real estate no more, right? I can't make a living, it's
right.
so, we're seeing new excited people, right?
Right.
What?
People getting out, new ones are coming in. They're all pumped up. They're like, "I'm ready to
Yeah,
go."
I'm ready to rock and roll. The guy 2 weeks ago couldn't make a living. This guy's closing 2, 3 deals a month.
Again, I got 53, so lately I've been looking back and looking at the younger me and the younger generations and thinking, the youthful vigor and zeal, so to speak, really does come into play because they don't see the bad. They don't see all they see is opportunity and what's ahead in front of them. And I love that because
Yeah,
I think as we get older, we forget that stuff and we forget
that's true.
that
That's
I'm
right.
53 again. There's still I got plenty of years left. So I gotta have that 23-year-old outlook, even at 53. Being like, you know what? Yeah, I'm still fired up because there's plenty to do here. And there's crashing, nothing. If the sky's falling, nah, none of that shit. I'm going for it.
There
And then I
was there
see a
was
lot
a
of the younger
market
ones coming in.
yesterday. There's going to be a market today, and there'll
Market.
be a market tomorrow, right? How you do business in it might change a little bit, but Trevor, if 53-year-old Trevor got 23-year-old Trevor's body, right? What would you do today and
Right.
to get that going, to get your business up and running to a point where, you know, you're generating consistent business where you could make a living off of this career that you've now chosen. Because the reason I ask for my audience is, you know, I have a lot of new recruits and mentees and
Sure.
things like that, not only through the EXP mentorship program, which I think is phenomenal.
It is awesome.
I think it's actually made me a better agent and broker by
100%,
mentoring
right?
these people. But I have a lot of like college students, real estate college students that are mentees of mine that are, you know, in the college UCF college program, and they're transitioning into real estate full time. You were them. Where would you start to get your feet wet?
First of all, I would not worry about the fact that I didn't know anything, because honestly, nobody knows anything. So I think a lot of the young guys get in and they're like, I'm nervous as to what I should do. Should I do this? Should I do it all? Like, don't be nervous to start something and then follow through with it. So like making the dumb videos. If you're gonna do it all in. Go for the social media aspect. Get your face out there, but make the phone calls too. And everyone, phone calls are tough. I mean, you know, call reluctance. It's, you know, especially the younger age kids.
It's a real thing.
They're
It
freaked out
is.
about phone calls, but they got to get over the fact that like make 100 calls. So like if you're not going to see these people. I mean, the guy tells you to pound sand, so what? You know, like big deal. Move on to the next one. Think of it as like these younger kids that come up. They've played sports through high school and college. My kid's a pitcher, and I got a kid who's they both play baseball. So what? Next pitch. You throw a ball, the guy hits a home run. You throw a couple of strikes, and the guy gets on base. So what? Next pitch. Like you got to have that next pitch mentality. You got to be like, you know what? This didn't work. Move on. This didn't work. Move on. This didn't work. On. This one got a home run on. So
Yeah.
you know, it's really focusing that. If you're for brand new in the business, I just think you just have to just throw spaghetti at the wall. Just try everything. Get focused on your goals. Get focused on where you want to be in 5 years. It's so hard to tell a 23-year-old, hey, at 28, where do you want to be? It's like, I don't know. I'm partying with my friends at the beach. You really got to put that. And I didn't do that enough when I was younger. You know, even though I was with
Right.
Mike Ferry and training with Tom, and I trained all these different coaches, really wasn't until I got involved with Kinder Reese in like 2008, Jay and Mike and John Kitchens and Wally. Those guys really, I mean, those guys were a level above everybody at that time. And they were kids. When I was, you know, I was in 2008, they were still 10 years younger than me, but they had the forethought to be, where do I want to be in 10 or 20 years, and put it on paper and then make an actionable plan, work it backwards. What do I need to do every week, every month, every quarter, every day?
Yeah.
And I think that the kids these days don't look, the social media thing has made everything very quick. It needs
Right.
to happen fast. It needs to be quick. And the guy here is doing it. The guys here are doing it. Now, if you put a little bit of thought into the next, just 30 days ahead, just think 30 days ahead. Here's the first of the month. How much do I want to have in the bank at the end of the month? How many closings do I need to have? What do I need to do to get there? It's the same basic thing we all learned in real estate. It's just getting those younger guys to understand that. If you're a year or two into the business, 2, 3, 4 years into the business, I'm 20 something years into the business. I do the same thing at the end of the year. I go to the MLS. I'll print out all of my transactions for the last couple of years. And I was just talking about this a minute ago, and I'll look and see where they all came from. Then I'll make my goal for the year based on each of those columns. So referrals, prospecting, what, you know, all the different, and then set a number to each one of those. So, okay, referrals, I got 10 referrals last year. I want 15 referrals next year. Make that my goal. Put it on there.
Right.
You know, from prospecting, I got 25 listings of prospecting. I want to get 35 listings of prospecting. Set that, put a number on that. And then you look at those things up on your board. Look at these things and kind of go, all right, here's where I need to get all of my pieces from, because it's tough to say, I'm going to go out and sell real estate. Where's it coming
Right.
from? I don't know. But if you know, okay, I did 15 referrals last year, I should at least get 15 next year. What did I do to get those referrals? And not just, you know, listing what your sources were. How did you get the deal from those sources? How did the deal come through? Sugar
Right.
it down again. So referrals might have been making videos. Referrals might have been your family. Referrals might have been all your younger friends are buying houses now. figure out where though, even break it down more. Where did those come from? Okay, fix a number to each one of those little pieces, and make it so each little piece is its own compartment. Fill those, little thermostat, little thermometer, every time you get a deal, right? Fill those lines right up. I'm visual
Right.
and I have to do this kind of stuff. I mean, you can see the other side of me right now. My wall's full of dry erase boards. I got everything here. I got all kinds. I got, you name it. I have to be visual in front of me. But when you do that, it keeps you motivated. It gets you excited because,
Right.
I want to fill the thermometer up. My kids get fired up. They want to see it. They want to fill the thermometer up. They
Well,
want to see.
you have visual accountability of of your goals and schedules all the time, right? So
Definitely.
you have your schedule in front of you. You have your goals in front of you. You have actionable measurements for everything that you want to accomplish. So on a weekly basis, at a glance, you can see where you're at. Right, I'm behind on these
Yeah.
amount of deals. I know that I got these deals on the board. I need to get these contacts in, So you have an actionable plan in place, right? It's not just, hey, whatever happens, happens. So you know
Right.
where you're going. So it's if I'm a new agent and I have zero database, I had zero deals last year. Your goal should be to get in front of more people, right?
Everybody.
And figure out how to get in front of those people, right? Where are those people hanging out that I need to be at, right? Open houses, right? Networking events, whatever I need to see more action, right? And I need to track that. I need to say, hey, you know what? I've spent X amount of time at this group, and I've met X amount of people, and that was my goal, is to meet more people, right?
Yeah. Don't be
So
shy.
maybe I can't. Yeah, I can't track transactions right now because I don't got any, but I can track people and I can track conversations, right? I can
Exactly.
track
Don't
people
be
and I
shy
can
about it.
track conversations.
Don't worry about what people think about you. Like, I think I think the younger guys coming up, I see with my kids, they see what they see online and
Right.
well, I'm going to look dumb if I do it this way because this guy's doing it driving a Lamborghini. Well, it's not his Lamborghini, whatever it is. But
Yeah,
you don't be afraid
they're
to
living the
get out
Instagram,
there.
the IG reel, right? Where what they don't see is, like, I follow a lot of big agents and investors and things like that
Sure. Yeah.
on Instagram to see what's going on, what they're doing, what they're promoting. We all do, but I understand that that agent, right, didn't have a 250,000 social media following, right? 6 years ago. He was
No.
banging on the phone, right?
He was banging on the phone. He was making
He was
crappy
learning what to
videos.
say. He was learning what to say. You said call reluctance, right? And I suffer from call reluctance, right, as well. When I get over it, when I actually start talking to people,
You
right?
start talking because once you start rolling, it's hard to stop.
Right. So when I start talking to people, then I feel good, right? I know what I'm saying, right? I I'm only over my call reluctance because I've already gotten to the point where if somebody asks me something about selling a home or what the price range or what the this or whatever they ask me or whatever objection they give me, I already heard it, right? I already know
Yeah,
the answer.
100 times
So
because it's the same questions all the time.
it's the same question. I don't think you could get what I want. Really? So why don't you tell me what you want, right? And we can work from there. And if I'm not the right person to get you what you want, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you get what you want, and I don't really want to waste my time, trying to lie to you for 6 months about it, right? So
Right.
let's have this conversation, see what we could do for you. If it's not the right
Learn those
fit, no worries,
objections
right?
because there are the same
So
questions. They're the same
it's the
questions
same thing
always.
over and over. It's the same thing
You know,
over and
my
over again. So call reluctance comes from confidence, right? I have new agents, and I put them in open houses, right? And they're like, oh, when somebody walks in, what do I say? Hi.
hi. Yeah. Hi.
like,
What would you
like
say if you
hi.
walk in the front door? Yeah, what would you say anywhere? Somebody walk in your
Yeah,
front door. What's up?
yeah,
The people. People want to be treated like people,
yeah.
and they don't want to
That's
be
it.
sold, and they don't want to be. Be yourself. Be normal. I mean, I get crazy hair, beard. I'm not playing drums. I'm not shy about any of that stuff. It's on social media. I drive around with drums in the car. You've got to be you still
That's right.
and be professional at the same time. It's a hard balance, but I think like you said, when you've done it enough and you're comfortable with it, um, it's when you talk about some of those people ask you a question, it's the same questions. Like everybody has, all sellers, all buyers have the same list of questions. Remind me of this funny story. When I was coaching with Mike Ferry back in the day, I was old enough, long enough to even Mike was my coach for a little while. It was before Tom had left and I actually left Mike and went with Tom back then. One of his first clients with Tom. But Mike had this story, and he said he was like, when I first started in real estate, I knew I was getting the same questions from listings because he only cared about listings. He's like, so I wrote down on index cards all these questions. I would go to the listing appointment and I hand it to them and say, which question applies to you? And let me answer it. Because he already had the answers. I thought that was brilliant. But what he was trying to get across was you don't need to recreate the wheel. You don't need to, you just need to know what you need to know and then internalize it and then be able to get it across in a way that people understand it. But I just always visualize that and walking to a listing appointment, with a suit, hands a card to somebody, says, well, here's 10 questions everybody asks me. Which one do you want answered? Probably the best way to go into a listing presentation, obviously. I'm going to start doing that because that is probably the best.
That is pretty savage. But Mike Ferry was a very straight to the point type of coaching. It wasn't. There was no BS. No like, oh, NLP this. You got no. It was you're there. You're a business professional. If you come in, you're not. Oh my God, you play golf? How, what's your handicap? I played golf one time in 19, it doesn't matter. Right.
Yeah.
Let me see the house. What are your goals? Here's what I could do. What's your time frame? What's important to you.
Pick up on stuff. If the guy's talking about golf an awful lot, well, do you need to be near a golf community, or do you play outside a lot? Do you play far away, or do you travel, or do you play at home? How far do you need to be from golf community? Does your wife play and your kids play? Maybe we got to focus on being in a community that, so you don't want to, obviously, like you said, blah, 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 but a bunch of stuff, but listen, let them talk and observe.
I thought it was great. I connected with Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, like in 2015, right? And
amazing guys.
I coached with John Kitchen.
Kitchen was my coach for like 5 years. He's unbelievable.
Great. What they were doing with, Facebook marketing, landing pages, things like that. We're able to generate nowadays, Facebook leads for a couple bucks a lead, on using the same things that we've been using for years now. Right. And it's just little tweaks, but the basics are always going to be there. Right. The human communication doesn't go away.
Always. It's funny how, so Facebook, again, a big source of business for most real estate agents. Last year or so, I've been going back to Google, where it all kind of started. Back in the day, 2000, 2001, 2 and 3, you could run Google ads for pennies. Pennies. And you were the only game in town, and then it got filled up, and then social media came in, Facebook, Instagram, people running ads on there. And I'm shifting back to Google lately because, again, we're talking about the older demographic. Who has the houses? Like you said, the older demographic has the houses. Facebook, yes, but they're also going to Google to search that. My kids don't search in Google because they go to like Instagram, or they go to YouTube and search. People still going to Google. Google is I think it's expensive, but if you do it right, you're gonna get a higher quality of lead than you could have with Facebook and with Instagram. A lot of the social leads, you're getting a big pile of leads into your funnel and dripping it down. I'm finding that with Google, I'm spending a little more. I still do the Facebook stuff, and I love it. But I'm really getting more into Google like I did back 15 years ago. And the game has totally changed with PPC ads and local service ads. I mean, if you're not doing local service ads,
I have you just have to set it up, right? And, it gives you a monthly budget, and it's the cost. You say tracking. You track your contacts of how many closed deals and things like that. I'm not great at KPIs, right? One of my least favorite things to track However, I do track where my deals come from every year. Like you, I don't track, like some of my friends and co-workers, colleagues track up to the phone call, right? It takes
Right.
me 197 phone calls,
For
17
one
to make
closed
17
deal. Yeah.
conversation to one closed deal. Um, I don't, I don't have that capability, but what I do know, is cost to conversion, right?
Super important.
If I spent on my Zillow, uh, $12,000 this year, and I recouped 24,000, right? I know that, and it was two deals. Each deal cost me $6,000,
Yeah.
so I got a 2-to-1 conversion ratio on my money. So that means that, what, I can afford $4,000 in Zillow a month,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And
So long as my
that's
conversion
important.
rate doesn't come down, right? I don't know how many leads it took me to get to that point, but I know that if I spent 4,000 and I got 8,000 back, I'm in,
Amen.
right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so that's how I justify things.
Well, because
Um, you know,
you can spend your whole day drilling down all these things and never making a phone call or never making a deal. It's kind of like the getting ready to get ready to get ready agent. Like, I'm getting ready to get ready to get ready. Let's go. I gotta get this in, get ready for this one, get this ready, get this one. All of a sudden it's 9 o'clock at night. I gotta go to bed.
yeah,
Like,
we've all
so
done it.
we've all done it.
We all have these projects that we started. By the time it was ready to go, it's out of fashion. It
That's
doesn't
not,
even
yeah,
work anymore.
exactly.
So,
No, exactly. You're right, exactly. So no, just knowing the basics, like you said, just knowing what you spent and your
yeah,
return on it. Because if you were spending 4,000 and getting 2,000 return, you'd be like, shit, this is crap. I either gotta change what I'm doing with these leads
right.
to get more out of it, or drop that. And we have a hard time dropping stuff again as agents. We get into something like, oh, I'm gonna stick with it. Like I
Or
switched
we
CRMs
drop it too
recently.
soon.
We drop it too soon. Right. You drop it too
Well,
soon.
either we do one of two things. We hold on to it for much longer than we needed to because we have hopes of using it, or we
Yeah.
drop it too soon because we don't know that it's actually working, right? And we're like, okay, well, you know what? Oh man, it's too expensive, right? You're
Not
like,
too expensive if
well,
you're making money off of it. If you're getting
on
two to
what?
one off
Yeah,
of it, then that's so knowing, at least knowing the basic numbers, like you're saying,
right,
knowing that you spend this, but there has got to be a time when you say, okay, I gotta fish or cut bait here. Like, what are we gonna do? And I went through that for a long time because there was a time when I was spending tons of money on leads. Because I guess you go back 6 or 8 years ago, 10 years ago, there was a lot of things to spend money on. Everything was new.
yeah,
Throwing money into this, throwing money into that. And if you weren't following through, you were just spending a ton of money. I remember one time my credit card was just on fire. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm doing making calls, doing all this stuff. I got all these things happening, tons of leads, but they weren't translating because I had a bunch of crappy lead sources.
yeah.
I wasn't tracking what I was spending on each source and why and what was coming out of it. So, you're smart to say, yeah, even if you have a tough time with tracking KPI, it's very tough. Our kitchens loves the KPI, and he's going to
Kitchen's like, if you don't know how many calls it took you, to convert this client, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
I'm like, right,
I'm like,
what? I guess you
look,
spent
buddy. All I
4,000 to
know
make
is that I converted.
converted, right? And knowing that you spent 4,000 to make 8,000, that's a good return right there.
That,
Whatever it
that's
would be.
exactly what I did.
But
So
I think we got to look at some of these things. They seem fun to have. So I just switched CRMs recently, and it's been a year, and I kept my old CRM. Get into the new CRM, and I wanted it to work. Really wanted it to work. Like, I want this new CRM it's got all the bells and whistles, and I've had a lot of CRMs. I was like, I really want this one to work, and it is just, I'm not figuring it out well. I'm not spending enough time on it, and I'm paying for it. And I'm like, I'm still going back to my old CRM to close deals. Just this morning in the shower, I'm like, that's it. I'm canceling the new one and sticking with the old one because the old one worked. The new one's cool, and all the cool kids are on it, and everyone's doing it. I'm like, you know what? I've got to get that mentality out of my head again and move back. Because I spent a lot of money on this thing last year, and I'm like, you know what? The
well,
simple CRM was working for me.
we all tried to get the new shiny thing, right? And if I had all the time back that I've spent on migrating CRMs from year to year
Right,
to
people.
year, right? Like oh my God, this CRM has these new features. Let me transfer my whole database over to those guys. And now oh, it's not really working the way I want it to. Let me tweak it. Let me tweak it. Let me tweak.
Yeah.
No, let me just. So
No,
I know that feeling very well.
one thing I would tell a new agent is they need something
Yes.
CRM wise, whether they're using a bolt on to Gmail or some kind of Chrome extension. If they can't afford it, if they're with EXP, they get a choice of a couple of different great CRMs to use.
Yeah.
You got to have something. You still, but they don't take the place of all the work. I mean, so I still use the file system. My buddy Jim Chamberlain came up with this. Jim Chamberlain's he's a trainer for Vulcan 7, but he's also an agent. 10 folders labeled 1 through 10. You make your phone calls in the morning, and then you take the guys you didn't connect with, and you stick it in number 2. And tomorrow you go through your list and you call everything until you move, and then you move it down to the next one. So say I made 10 phone calls today, and I didn't only contacted one person. The other 9 go in number 2. So tomorrow I start with number 1, who's in there? Nobody. I go to number 2, who's in there. Number 2 has got people that I called, and then 3 days later I've got people from number 3, from 4, all the way to 10. It's just a visual way to keep track of your prospects without having to be bogged down with a system, and yet having it in front of your face, in your hand. Touch it.
Yeah.
Inside here is a bunch of scraps of paper.
Right.
Call this guy, call this guy, this guy. And then you've called everybody 10 times when you get to the last envelope, the last folder. So every day make phone calls. Day 1 goes the newest people. Then I call these guys on day 2. I didn't get them, and move on to day 3, on to day 4. So at least by the end of 10 days, I know I've called everybody, and I got a fresh batch to start with. Little things like that. It's just, scraps of paper. I got paper everywhere. My desk is covered in papers and notes. I got dry erase books everywhere. But I think it's helpful. I feel it is important. Yes, exactly, man.
I got a big old pad. I mean, it's life. It's desk size, and it's just full of people that I got to call, and
but I'm still sending letters. Look at this. I got 120 mailers going out. I had a closing, and I'm just mailing to the neighborhood. Yes. Just mailing to the neighborhood. But you know what? They'll get a deal. If I won't get a deal, it'll be familiarity. When I call them, they're like, oh, that's the guy who mailed me the friggin' letter. Oh, that guy. Yeah, this guy saw his video. It's a shitty video, but it worked. Then it's just you gotta do things.
I think we've gotten a theme of this podcast is you have to embrace technology, right? You have to embrace the social media, the Facebook. As a new agent, as an agent in general, embrace that, because yes, you're going to be communicating to your audience, to your sphere of influence, through there, but you can't ignore the basics of communication, right? And know your audience, right? When you're speaking to a certain demographics loves postcards and things like that, right? We don't get a lot of that in the mail anymore, right?
No.
People love letters, right? I get something in the mail, and I'm like, oh, hey, look, it has my name on it. I'm going to open it, right? So even if I just breeze through it and a business card falls out of it, and some of these letters, I go, man, that was really cheesy. And then I crumble it up and toss it, but I saw the guy's name, right?
I saw the guy's name, and that's the point right there. That's the grocery store thing for me. I'm making a video here, I'm going to a mailer here, a baseball game here, and I walk into the grocery store, and the guy says, hey, my mom, she's been seeing you around. They need to sell their house, or we're thinking of moving. We thought about you because we see you all the time. Yeah. It really, you got to just, again, not be afraid to look silly. Because I look stupid all the time. Just look at me, look like an idiot. So, you can't be afraid to look dumb.
You look like a drummer.
I look like a drummer, right? I'm rolling around playing drums on weekends, drinking beer. I'm talking to people about real estate, but it's all the things.
But you're a real person. but you're a real person that does business.
So when I worked in Rhode Island and Connecticut at this boutique agency with real high end stuff, I mean, $11 million sales, $10 million sales, regular stuff like this and these guys were buying beach houses for like, 2 weeks a year. The last thing that guy wants to see from New York City is a dude showing up at the beach in August in a pinstripe suit to sell him a house. He's like, I got this guy at my office. I don't need him here. I need you to, because that's not me. I'm not. Some guys are pinstripe suit guys. I'm not. In the summertime, flip flops, shorts.
I'm the Griswold family Christmas photo under my
Love
shirt
it.
kind of guy.
Love it. Love that. That is great.
So
you're a real person.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. You gotta be you and not them. And
that's what you get here.
Part.
That's what you get here in the Full Monty show. You get everything.
Here at the Full Monty, you're getting the Full Monty is what you're getting.
Yeah, you get the Full Monty. And be yourself. Everybody that you do business with is going to like you for you, right? And if you're new in the business, get to those people first, right? Get to those people that know, love, and trust you.
Bring them something of value. Know your business.
That's a key. That I love that you just said that. If I had a horn, I'd blast it right now. Know your business, right? Some agents don't even know the market, know your numbers.
You
right?
If you're an agent, you have the MLS. It's there.
Well, some agents don't even know how to use the MLS until they get a client.
That's a powerful, powerful tool, the MLS.
It's like if you call a carpenter and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be right there. I just gotta figure out how to use this hammer."
You're like, I'm calling to somebody else.
Yeah, but it's the equivalent of your hammer.
It's the equivalent of it, right? And as crappy as some LMLSs are, the stats are in there. The market stats. Know your market because everyone's going to stop you as a real estate agent. Not even just the holidays. Every day, someone's going to stop you and say, "How's the market? How are the multifamilies looking? Or what's this? What happened last year in my neighborhood?" Know those stats, and they're easy to find. And it's fun. You
want to trigger? You want to trigger me You want to trigger me really quick? Go ahead and ask me how the market is, Trevor. Go ahead.
Yeah. How's the market down there?
It's good.
That's great. Well, multifamily, is they selling down there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're good. They're really good.
See,
it's
new
great.
Agent is going to answer like that, right?
Right. Like, how's the market? Good. Or terrible. They have two. So is it really terrible? Right? Because I have investors making $50,000-$60,000 a deal, right? I have sellers that have been trying to sell their property for 40 days, but they're unrealistic with their price points. Buyers are getting a little picky in this market. Homes are sitting, where homes used to be selling 7 days, 3 days, an hour. Some of these houses are sitting on the market 15, 20 days, 30 days longer than they used to. And sellers are getting a little bit antsy about what they're seeing in the marketplace, and they're getting nervous. Some are lowering their price. A lot of these price drops are actually delusional sellers coming back to market value in 2020, 2021. A delusional seller could put their make me move price on the MLS, and they would probably get it. Maybe not this month, but in 2 months they would get it, right? So now when that passes them by, they're seeing that they're not selling. So some of those really I have to move sellers are lowering their price. So that's what we're seeing in the marketplace. Not a lot of cash transactions, still a lot of financing, even at 7.5%, 8%. Right. So what are your plans, for the next year in the real estate market? Are you an investor? Are you looking to buy? Because it really depends on, what you're
educated.
Right. So that conversation, you can educate the client. Well, it depends on what you're looking to do in the market. If you're looking to,
that's the first question, right? They say, "How's the market?" Well, depends. So you're looking to buy, sell, or invest because it's all a little bit varied right now. So where are you looking to be? Oh, I'm looking to buy. Well, in that case, if you're looking to buy, we should talk about the difference of the markets, difference of neighborhoods, difference if you're looking for a condo or a house. What's your mortgage situation? The thing that's killing me right now is back when you started to, but we're kind of old dogs here. the 3-2-1 mortgage buy down. Nobody's talking about this.
No.
And it is probably the best. Everyone's bitching. Oh, the rate, 7%, 6%. The rates are not going to stay at 7% forever.
No.
3-2-1 mortgage buy down. You sound like a rock star if you just memorize that 3-2-1 mortgage buy down script to a buyer. Like, oh, well, 3-2-1 mortgage buy down. The first year lowers your rate by 3%, next year by 2%, the third year by 1%, fourth year back to the rate you started with, refi, because in 3 years the rates are going to be down again anyway.
That's
that
right.
conversation as a new agent would make you look like a rock star,
Yeah.
But they don't spend the time to research it a little bit.
No, you learn the benefits. Learn the benefits of buying with an FHA loan and being able to streamline your interest rate later, right? With no closing costs, right? So teaching and educating the consumer, but it has to start with a new agent learning themselves, right? And taking the time to educate themselves. I had a conversation. I mean, this podcast has gone overtime already. So I had a conversation with a client of mine. It was a new client consultation, brand new client consultation. And she's like, we're talking about investments. She has $100,000 that she wants to invest in real estate in the next 12 months, right? And we're having this conversation about where she should put her new short-term rentals, right? She's a short-term rental person. She's got a successful short-term rental business,
right now.
and she wanted to explore other options. And I'm like, well, you know what? You're doing really good with short-term rentals. You have a 90% occupancy rate. Let's dig deeper into that, right? So that I don't even know where those sparkly things are coming from, but let's dig deep. Yeah, let's dig deeper into that and expand your portfolio. You're really good at it. And then I started going into some of the Airbnbs, right? And I gave her a couple different options of different areas and things like that. And she goes, well, how do you know where all these areas are? I never even heard of, like we went into Airbnb and I was like, well, because I spend time researching these things. I spent time in rooms, right, that were discussing these things. I spent time, where, other people are maybe just mindlessly TikToking away. I'm watching videos about real estate investment and how to run analysis on, Airbnbs or what new investment opportunities are available for my clients, right? So it's not by chance, but it's not by chance that I know it. Right. It's not that I picked up a 30-second Instagram clip of it and I'm regurgitating it. I internalized it and I know it and I know how to explain it. That's a whole lot different than, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out as we go along.
Yeah, figure it out as I go along.
No time.
Yeah, and you'll have agents put their clients, or you'll have clients put their trust in agents with no experience or and they end up hurt. And then that agent ends up with bad reviews and then no referrals down the road. Right?
Exactly.
It's not even about your clients. If you want to take this to the most selfish point of view possible, right? Learning your business so that you could get good referrals later on will only help you grow your business. Right? Forget about hurting anybody or making anybody money.
Yeah. I think when the younger guys get started, they don't think about that. I didn't think about referrals when I started. I didn't think didn't even cross my mind, but 10 years in, I was like, oh, this is a whole business plan.
How long did it take you to figure out before you go, oh, you know what? Maybe I should call those people that I closed deals with and actually like me.
It was 10, 12 years. And I was 100 miles an hour, gas pedal down, go. And then all of a sudden I got a couple referrals and I was like, oh, that's free money. Like almost. Not free money, but it's like I didn't have to prospect that call. The guy just called me back up. I've got 100 people I sold houses to in the last couple of years. How come they're not calling me back up? Oh, because I never called them or sent them a letter or reached out or Facebooked them or Instagram messaged them or LinkedIn. I didn't do any of that. You got to just, again, this little thing right here was Gary Vee always was like the $1 million, the $1 million. I'm
going to reuse this term and I like it, and I use it a lot. It's the net, right? Your no extra time, right? And I
Yeah. Like,
consider driving time, right? My net time, no extra time, and it's a time that I get into my car and I call either people that I've done a deal with last year just to check up on them. I call, my somebody that I haven't talked to in a bit, somebody that came to mind, whoever. But I call somebody on my way to somewhere. Hey,
I
I'm on my
love
way
the
to this.
car for that.
I'm on my way to this appointment. I just thought about you when we were shopping, and you know
Yeah.
what I mean. I drove by this place. We had coffee here, and wanted to see how you were doing, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I do that purposely, and I really do think of the person. It might have reminded
Sure.
me. I'm not making it
Yeah.
up, but
No.
honestly, it's connecting with people when I would have normally been doing just driving, listening to the radio,
Car
maybe a
time
podcast,
is so
car time.
key. It's so good. Ask
Yeah,
we talk to kitchens, but like, hey, remember when Trevor was driving 5 hours between appointments? I would take because I would go to Rhode Island and Connecticut from Vermont. So I would have a list, legal notebook pad, and I get in the car for 5 hours. I just start dialing,
yeah.
not necessarily prospecting because I don't want in the mindset. I got to drive still,
Right.
just to chat because it's a mindless chat in the car. Hey, how's it going? And you're just shooting the shit about stuff. Just
Hey,
reconnecting.
where are you coming from, Trevor?
Yeah. Oh, I just passed exit 2. Remember we were dying? Oh, you tell me about that restaurant or whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever it is. But that is really amazing time. I love the car. I love, auto university, they call it. You listen to your books and the audio books and
yeah,
podcasts in the car nonstop. But I love to make phone calls in the car. If you got a
yeah,
40-minute ride somewhere, you can bang out a bunch of calls. And it's real because you're not in front of a computer with paper and you're trying to figure stuff out and write things down. You're just talking.
yeah.
And it's a reconnection.
Hey, I had a
But
couple
when I
minutes
would have
here.
learned
I'm
that,
driving here. No, it's awesome. It's free time. It's free time.
it's
So I
free
don't want to
time.
hear I don't want to hear people say I don't have time. You know.
Yeah, and you guys
So
have like the challenge of distance we have. You have some distance in between your
yeah,
markets. It's not
yes, we
you're
do.
not just like a 4 mile radius where you guys
No,
are. It's
no.
spread out. You got to get in the car. You might drive 20 minutes to get to an appointment. That's
No.
great. Two
And
calls
it
in
and
20
it
minutes.
and if you're in New York and you're in any kind of vehicle, it's 2 hours anyway. So it's
Yeah, exactly. And even if you
so
leave in the voicemail, you get the quick voicemail. Laying in bed at night, man, I'll send texts. I'll schedule messages to go sent out the next day on like Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. Just these things are it's free. It's so easy to use. You just pull out
yeah,
and be like, I could be scrolling TikTok for 3 hours, but take 1 hour, and even if you copy and paste a message, if you know, and add a couple things to it,
yeah,
just 5 messages a day. It's like the 5-5-5 rule. Like call 5 people, send 5 letters, go to send 5 LinkedIn. That shit
yeah.
works. Like that's real.
But
That's
it's
real.
connecting with people. The whole key here for a new agent or somebody that wants to grow their business is connecting with people. The actual act of voluntarily going out and making that connection.
Making the effort.
Right.
And be yourself. When I started, I was fronting so much. I was like, "Oh, I'm this guy, I'm that guy, I'm wearing this and that." It definitely doesn't. It doesn't work. You don't need to look like the guy on the billboard. As I used to say, it was a big joke because billboards were what was around before Instagram when I started real estate. My wife would always make fun of me. She would, "You don't have to be the guy on the." She goes, "I don't even want the guy on the billboard. That's not the guy I want to be with. That guy doesn't
Yeah.
look real at all. I'm with you because you're like this. You look normal. You're regular. Be yourself with people." And I
Yeah.
think as agents, we have a hard time with that because we feel like we need to be something else. And it's what I learned working at the beach with those high-end buyers. They did not want a guy in the suit. The guy would wear the suit, show up, and the guy would look at me like, "Dude, it's 85 degrees outside. It's sunny. Why the hell are you wearing a dark blue suit?" I was like, "I just came from Wall Street. They don't even wear suits like that there. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
It's true.
Roll in and be yourself. Roll in flip-flops. Sometimes I don't shave all the time. I mean, and so speaking of not shaving sometimes, yeah, exactly. I'm really loving this new market, so to speak, of dealing with virtual showings.
No.
Telling you, I got a stabilizer. I think maybe I don't know. I got to easily say half of my business last year were people I have never met in person.
Really?
The virtual showings. The virtual showing is so good because in Vermont, we've got all these markets outside of Vermont where people are coming to for vacation. Guy
Right.
in New York City, guy in Philly, guy in Boston. They don't have time to come here. The houses are selling in 5 days. Stowe,
Wow.
Burlington, the ski resorts, we're still selling quickly. If you don't get up here and see it, you miss out. So I really kind of, I look like a bum, but they don't need to see me. They don't even see me. I go to the house, got my earbuds in, I got the stabilizer. And I'm like, okay, I'm in the master closet. I'm gonna stick my arm out and spin around like this. I'm not even touching the wall. It's unbelievable. Let me take 5 steps back. Like, oh, I hit my head on the wall. Like, you're making it fun, but if you're doing it right, you literally the stabilizer is in this little pouch here, and my
Yeah.
phone sideways, and it's an iPhone, so I put it on the expand view.
Right.
And I'm telling you, they sit in their office, and their wife's at home with the kids, and they got their laptop open. I do FaceTime, and then I spend an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, doing those kind of showings. We
Wow.
got to just hold some folks in Seattle, Washington. They're moving here. The wife and the husband are working so much they couldn't be together all the time. They came once and met me, and over 6 months, we saw tons of houses. They bought a house like $1 million, and they're going to sell it and buy another one. But
Wow.
they love the fact that 7 or 8 of those showings, I had to do it, and it was just like some boring old guy with a virtual tour. No, get in and get out there. Say you specialize in I specialize in virtual showings. I don't specialize in it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I know
But
that I
you
stand in the
actually,
kitchen.
but you actually do, because I bet you know more about virtual showings at this point than 90% of the people in your market. You're in the top
Because I
10% of
embrace it.
virtual showings.
That's like, I feel like I can say that. I didn't even do it with a stabilizer first. I do it with my hand, and after an hour, I was like, "Oh, this hurts so much. I can't." I'm shaking the phone. Finally, got one of those stabilizers, those gimbals. I'm walking around. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
way easier. And I show up to an appointment, and the listing agent, $1 million house, I got a gimbal in my hand, earbuds. They're like, "Whoa, this guy's legit." And I got flip flops on, ripped shirt, but they're like, "This guy seems to know what he's doing." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. I'm going to take over your house for a little while." But just having fun with it. Sit
Yeah.
down on the couch in the living room. It's like, yeah, the fireplace, get that thing going. I can have a beer right here. Counting your steps, walking backwards. And we're in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna count till I hit the wall. Boom, boom, and I walk right into the wall with the phone. Boom. I'm like, oh, 16. Boom, the phone. And then it's like it smacks into the phone. It's like kind of funny. Getting into the closet, sticking your arms out, spinning around. Like, yeah, how big's the walk-in closet? Oh, it's this big. Look at that. I'm spinning my arms around. It's crazy. Having fun with it, being yourself. Because again, if I was the guy trying to wear the pinstripe suit, I
Yeah.
would not have that attitude. I'd be like, oh, well, it's a wonderful house. Da, da, da. They don't want that. They want you. That's why
Yeah.
they hired you. And
So,
so it's embracing those things.
so you're having a lot of success with out of state buyers up
Yes.
there.
And exactly. I am. And Facebook has this really great tool. I mean, you do Facebook ads, so you know this,
Yeah.
and you're probably bringing some out of state people where you are. Facebook's got Facebook ads. There's
Yeah.
one feature on that I use over and over again. And it's you can choose how you want to target the leads, where they're from, if there was zip code or whatever. There's a space on there where you can choose to click to only show your ad to people who are 150 miles away from the zip code that you've put in, that live physically. Facebook knows what their address is, but their
Right.
phone is pinged in the last 30 days in your market. So now I'm doing ads on Facebook. If I'm going to do an ad on Facebook, because it's expensive these days,
Yeah.
I'm going to run an ad like that for people in Stowe, Vermont, who came up and vacationed in Stowe over Thanksgiving, and I'll run an ad for people who live 150 miles or more. And it's one click. It's called, I forget what it's called. It's called like you got 4 options.
Travel through option or something like that.
Right. And
Yeah.
tell you what, all the ads go there. So I can run an ad, look like whatever, but I'm focusing it on people who are already out of state.
Right.
And that will bring, again, a big funnel to fill, and I will drip some smaller pieces. But if I'm going to run Facebook ads for me, because I'm dealing with a lot of out-of-state buyers, a lot of out-of-state sellers,
Right.
I'm running that Facebook ad to be only 150 miles away or farther from where they ping. So that was like a nice, when I learned that little feature, changed my Facebook marketing, that and retargeting. I think if you're not retargeting, it's silly. You take your whole database, 10,000, load it up into a custom audience,
Right.
and put like $25 a month,
Yep.
and retarget to those people. Just dumb, crappy videos. Just you saying hi, whatever. Here's something new in the neighborhood. Doesn't have to be anything, but for cheap money, for $1 a day, you can retarget your whole database. And those people already know who you are because they're already getting listings from you, already getting a newsletter from you from KB Core or whatever. They're getting something else. They know you, but that cheap $30, $25 to put on a
I do.
retargeting
I
ad.
do that with custom lists. So I'll download, 10,000 vacant home owners, uh, not absentee owners,
Yeah.
and now I upload those and into my
And run an
Facebook
ad
pages, and I run
against
an
that.
ad to those
Yeah.
Florida market, looking to buy cash offer or whatever. Um,
Right. And you don't need to spend a
and
lot on those ads
no, because
because
it's only targeting 10,000. So on
your
any
audience.
given day, on only a given day, it might only show it a couple hundred times, if that. So you're only getting paid per impression. So it's not a it's not a very expensive ad to run to a couple of
No.
million people, right?
Right. And again,
So
going back to saying like, learning the tools you have, like learning your MLS, because there's so many great tools there, learning the statistics so you can answer a question well. Facebook ads are not hard. They look
right,
hard. Like they seem complicated. But if you spend just a few minutes playing with it, you got to waste a few bucks to play around and see what you like. You can really detail some great. I mean, that your example right there is fantastic. Getting
yeah,
absentee owners and then pitching to them why they should be selling their house or what the cash deal situation is like.
yeah,
That's real advertising, not just I just put a Facebook ad out there. To who?
right.
Billboard in the desert? Like doesn't who are you
Yeah,
sending your ad to and what's it saying?
yeah,
Breaking it down. So if you've got a bunch of first-time buyers in your database, do a retarget to them and be like, do you know what a 3-2-1 mortgage buy down is? Did you know you could
yeah.
get a mortgage for 4% today or 3% today? I'm like, no, I didn't know you could. Because in your first year, you're paying 3% less on your rate. So if the rate's 6.5% today, how would you like a 3.5% mortgage? That'd be a great
But
ad to run to
you,
first-time buyers. How would you like a
you
3.5% mortgage?
you're going back to educating. They got to know before they can educate.
Gotta know.
No,
And it doesn't have to be, fancy. It can
no,
be me looking like an idiot with this beard and be like, do you know you can get a 3.5% mortgage today? Yes, you can. Done. That will
yeah.
a lot of people will be like, I can get a 3.5% mortgage. Click. How do I find
Let
out?
me let me call.
Simple.
Let me
Let me
figure it out.
call. Well, three
Yeah,
and a half percent mortgage. Where do I get this mortgage?
exactly,
You know.
exactly.
So I think that's
Man,
knowing stuff.
it's gold.
It's great.
It's really gold. It's really gold to be able to
But I love your
pass
targeting
that.
the absentee owners.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get on that because they're up here. That this
yeah.
right now. So on my board right here, I've got my list.
I'll
This is
tell
my
you where I
short
buy.
board.
Where do you buy your data from? Where are you getting your data from?
I get it from a couple places. So I got a buddy named Colin who's got this company called Real Tech Power Marketing, and
Okay.
I can't even. It's legal somehow, but I don't know how they get this stuff. So I get fantastic data from Colin Real Tech, and his little platform it's pretty cheap. You segment your audiences, so you download the whole county, but then you
Right.
can pull out like people who are over 65, people who have 50% equity in their house, people who have 30-day lates, people who have whatever. You can pull it down and segment. Otherwise, you just get your spreadsheets and kind of pull them the same way. Pioneer
Right.
data. It's another one. They used to be called. They used to be called Black Book Data. That was cool. I was Black Book Data back in the day. They changed it into Pioneer Data. They're in like Eugene, Oregon, or something, or Oregon, somewhere in Washington State, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
They have great lists, cheap lists, and you can buy 30, 60, 90s from them. You can buy neighborhood lists from them. You can get. I mean, there's just a million places online you can just go and
Yeah.
get free data. There really
There's
is.
there's there's good resources. I want everybody to know there's also good resources through Realist and other realtor tools. If you're a realtor, there are some
RPR. Do you guys have RPR on
RPR.
your MLS?
Yep. Yeah,
RPR is
RPR.
free.
Yeah.
And they
So
got
there's a lot of
so much. You get home addresses in there. You get primary
yeah.
addresses in there.
We could
And
spend a lot of money doing it because we can.
because you
I
can.
mean,
Now you've built yourself up to
because
the
we
point where you
can.
can get some grades.
And the better data you could buy, the better your contact rate goes up and things like that. But for what we're talking about, creating lists and things like that, you need their name, their number, their address, things that Facebook can match up with
Pretty
profiles,
basic stuff.
and you could download that right off a real list. Get moving, do something, do an open house this weekend. I don't care if
Do an
you're an
open
agent out
house.
there.
Get out there.
Don't let another weekend go by without taking
No,
some action.
without taking some
Trevor,
action.
man, we've been on for an hour, and I think we've
We have
we've
like 10
blasted
minutes.
everybody's ears. It did feel like 10 minutes. I looked up, I go, oh my god, it's been an hour.
I know
So
this clock in the corner here says hour and 4 minutes. I'm like, holy shit, hour and 4 minutes. Oh my God, what did we talk about?
man, Trevor, hey, listen, I want to let everybody know where they can find you, and man, let's stay in touch. Do another one of these. I think we can talk for another hour.
I'd love to come back, and I'm having a great time. If anybody has any questions, Trevor at getvthomes.com. Easy way to get a hold of me. I can send you some scripts, tracking sheets, goals sheets, whatever. And trevorainsworth.com goes to my link tree, which is just a bunch of crap on there. I don't even know what's on there, but it's got stuff on it. But this has been. I really appreciate you sticking over the last couple of. It was been a month. I think we've been playing around trying to get this figured out.
It's either my schedule's been crazy for the holidays last November,
Yeah,
but
you went to
we're
New
gonna
York.
definitely.
I saw your pictures from New York. It looked
Yeah,
like you had an awesome time.
it took me
Looked
a
really
week
good.
to recover from New York, so that's that. So but man,
Cool,
it
man.
was great, Trevor. I appreciate you,
Yeah,
man, and please let's connect again. I love to do this again.
absolutely. Absolutely,
Uh,
brother. You have a great holiday and
you
good luck
too,
to your
man.
family and your son on the piano.